Ladies, having a hysterectomy can make you feel a little uncertain, nervous, maybe a little scared about your recovery. Well, no matter what type of hysterectomy you had, I want to share with you the top 5 recovery tips that has helped thousands of my clients recover after a hysterectomy. My name is Dr. Dawn. I'm a pelvic floor specialist, a physical therapist that works with women of all different backgrounds, but many women that have had a hysterectomy don't know that there are other resources that can help coach them and guide them through their recovery. So I'm going to talk about those today, what those 5 top recovery secrets are that my clients have seen success with. So before diving in and talking about all these recovery tips, I want to share with you what we're going to be discussing in relation to the best ways to recover and heal, because a lot of it has to do with the pelvic floor and the muscles around your abdominal area and back and diaphragm and how they all work together to really make you feel more confident about your body again. Now, on my pelvic model here, you can see in red, those are the pelvic floor muscles. They are a group of muscles that sit like a basket and they protect your pelvic organs. So if you had your uterus removed, you have your bladder and your rectum that are supported by these pelvic floor muscles. On top, you have your diaphragm. Deep here, you have your abdominal muscles, your transverse abdominis, deeper than your six-pack ab muscles. And then your multifidus muscles here in the back that connect to your spine. And these muscles all have to work together like a group in order to fully support that area and protect your healing. Now, after a hysterectomy, no matter which type you have, you may have had a total hysterectomy with an incision in your abdominal area, or you had a transvaginal hysterectomy where they went through the vaginal opening here. Now, with either of those, these recovery tips are going to apply, so make sure you pay attention to those. One of the biggest things is a timeline of your recovery. You may have limitations from your doctor for a certain number of weeks. And for example, I'm just gonna say a 6-week marker on what the doctor has told you, how to limit how much weight you lift, what type of exercise to do, and really take it easy so you can rest and recovery within those 6 weeks. Some women, they may say 2 weeks, some may say 4 weeks. It all depends on your surgery and what your surgeon advises. But just know not everyone is gonna fall within that timeline. You can use that as a framework, but for many women, 6 weeks may not be enough. You want to feel like, okay, this time has gone on, my body's recovered, I'm ready to get back into activity, but just know that's a framework and many women fall outside of that. So don't beat yourself up. If you're not feeling good again, or you're still having some discomfort or not ready to get back into having intercourse, going back to activity right at around that 6-week marker, you may need some guidance and support a little bit longer. So the second one is you may have changes in urinary frequency or urgency. So changes in your bladder habits are a common thing that happens after a hysterectomy. Urinary continence may include coughing, sneezing, you try to run or jump and you start leaking, or you feel like you have this urgency all the time and you just can't get to the bathroom fast enough. When the uterus and other organs are removed from the body, you may have a change in the amount of pressure that's put against the urethra and the bladder. So with more free space in your abdominal cavity, it can put more pressure and require more work of your pelvic floor muscles to take the pressure off that bladder and urethra, the tube that allows the urine to flow out of the body. But the good news is this is very treatable, and you have to learn the right way to support those pelvic floor muscles, how I talked about in the beginning, on the basket of muscles that protect your bladder. Now, for many women, we think of Kegel exercise and strengthening and doing exercises that are going to help fully strengthen those pelvic floor muscles. But for some women, they are holding on to a lot of tension there because of the trauma of having a surgery. So not to worry, but the shortened muscles may not be able to support and contract like they need to support the bladder. So what do we need to do? We need to work on some deep belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing exercises. You can go back to my channel and watch diaphragmatic breathing. That is a very important thing to start working with, because you're going to connect your breathing muscle with your pelvic floor and get it to fully let go, but also to contract as well to support those pelvic organs. Seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist is going to be highly beneficial for you to figure out what your strength is like, what your endurance is like, and what those muscles are capable of. But if you try to go back to doing some Kegel exercise and doing some core strengthening and you're having a lot of bladder problems, then that's a big red flag for something within that core is not working properly, so you need to address it. This is one of the things that I address in my program that I have about a hysterectomy recovery step-by-step 6-week program that I coach my clients through on how they can help themselves. And the link is in the description underneath there, link to the program. Now, the other factor that comes into play is you may not be ready for sexual intercourse. This, along with the 6-week marker, many doctors will release you and say, okay, you're good to go, you're recovered, but your muscles might not be ready yet. So if you're jumping back into having intercourse and it's painful, not comfortable, well, those muscles, like I discussed with the bladder issue, they may be more constricted, have shortening, and therefore can cause some pain with penetration and having intercourse. Now, this also is very treatable and it can be normal, so don't freak out. But learning some restorative yoga poses, breathing exercises, things that are going to let those muscles release and relax are going to be very helpful. We connect to your pelvic floor muscles subconsciously. So there are times where you don't even know you're tensing and holding those muscles. But if you practice some deep breathing exercises, child's pose position, some exercises that are really going to open up the legs and the pelvis with some deep squats, those things are going to allow those muscles to relax. And as long as you're not having pain with those exercises, they can be really helpful to lengthening the pelvic floor and creating more length in the tissue so you're not having the pain with penetration. The other factor, number 4, is you could develop a prolapse of the bladder. Now, what is a prolapse? So in this case, a prolapse of your rectum or your bladder can happen by feeling this sense of pressure or heaviness down in the vaginal area or anal area. And with those organs, they are held up by ligaments, and those ligaments stretch. They require a lot of support of your pelvic floor muscles. But when you are lacking some of that pelvic floor support, like I mentioned with the bladder urgency or leaking, well, those organs can actually push into the vaginal wall and create what's called a prolapse. Now, sometimes that bulge can be more of a severe prolapse where you actually see bulging through the anal area or through the rectal area. And this is not to scare you, but it may happen in some women over time, even years after a hysterectomy, if they have not done the right restorative work and strengthening work through the pelvic floor and the core muscles. So you really want to protect the pelvic organs that are still intact there by really having a lot more support of the muscles in that area through the lower abdominals, through the diaphragm, the lower back, and your pelvic floor. This can be important as well if you go to lift something heavy and you hold your breath or you're bearing down at the same time of lifting. You want to use proper lifting techniques to be able to minimize the risk factor of having a prolapse. So this may look like taking an inhale first, and as you exhale, you do a Kegel exercise and pull in those muscles before you lift something. This is truly going to protect your pelvic organs and a good habit to follow, because many times women are doing the opposite and they're bearing down or pushing through their pelvic floor or through their abdominals when they go to lift something heavy. this can cause a prolapse or weaken that area even more. So one little tip to help prevent a prolapse is lifting properly. Now, the last part that I want to discuss may be different between a total hysterectomy, having a lower abdominal scar versus transvaginal hysterectomy. And if you do have any kind of incision or even the little portal holes around your abdominal area, doing some scar tissue mobilization, some soft tissue release, some massage in that area along the scar, as long as you've been cleared by your doctor that it's fully healed. You want to loosen up that tissue there because the tissue can scar down. It can affect how your muscles beneath there are going to contract and support your lower back, your pelvis, and how you can go back into activity just feeling like you can access those muscles more efficiently and work through your core. So what does that look like? Well, just a quick little tip. If I have an incision here, I'm going to think of picking up that scar and kind of moving it back and forth. This applies more to the abdominal area if you have a scar there. You also can take 2 fingers and kind of rub up and down going perpendicular to that scar, or a circular motion there. So the key is to get that tissue moving. If this is really uncomfortable to you or painful, just know that's common in a lot of women, but we have to get used to placing your fingers just right above to start and moving that tissue around. Now, if you don't have a large incision through your abdominal area, going back to those breathing exercises are also going to help move that tissue under your deep core, your abdominal area, and through your pelvis to allow that stretching of the fascia and the tissue around to help it heal. Now, if you want to learn more about how to fully recover after hysterectomy, that's where I discuss the program that I have for women. And this program is so helpful because a lot of these tips and strategies you can use on your own to help heal yourself in the comfort of your own home, but with the expert guidance of a pelvic floor physical therapist. So go check out the Recovery Secrets program from a physical therapist that specializes in hysterectomy recovery. Go check out that link below. Now, if you have questions about this video, if you want to try one of these, but you have questions about it, comment below and let me know what was challenging for you. What did you learn? I have more tips on this website, on this page. So if you subscribe, more tips about hysterectomy recovery that I'd be happy to coach you through. So thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.